lúc giáo luôn để khó speech nó cái một tí hoa ta bé ô tàu in English we can do it bé mong lulu bé nó mà ni chạy tàu ở dạng này vậy ý dạng nó cái ni chạy tàu ta bé like us bé short lời us we can do it how bé nó chạy tàu ta the number 3 the numerical value 3 bé ô tàu cái lúc nó họ cũng sáng mắt cho nó thẳng cho bé short lời nó giờ bé dạng cũng cởi tao nó cũng gì bé dạng cũng chỉ ở bên short lời bảo hả mà tôi xin chân tao tại vì bé ô tàu bé dạng nó cái bé mong luôn nên nhiều vàng nênอย่างอีโนยาเกจางจีอย่างอ้อโนยาเกฝืนโนเต้อย่างเป้โนเกยชิยองมวยตัวใหญ่อุ่นหนูนะยา this guy is an electrician and he usually works with an apprentice เกี่ยวตัวใหญ่โนอุ่นหนูโนเกมอหนูกินตัวพงยี่จิโตมอเกจิโตcái này mong ôn nụ này cái electrician mà bắt做有攞 ไฟฟ้า này vậy, bắt做攞 ไฟฟ้า cũng mua ไฟฟ้า cho biểu được tên đấy, cái nụ đấy nụ từ phong gì chỉ to, cái này ít lên mà ôn nụ sư, cái này một做cái ไฟฟ้า đấy nó cái he came upon a problem, there was an issue with the wiring that he had to fix, and when he got to the problem he noticed that 2 strings were hanging, the strings used to connect. Ta xin blankเลยนะยอkéo cho lô phải phán được blank so he had to tie these put together and plug in this cord this electrical cord cái ô yo sao lô na sao nó cái một cái phong y băng nó cũng cái này giá cho lô tận nó cái cũng nhau tận nó thì cũng giá cho lô nó cái ít trắng nó cái ít một lẩu cái ta xin lúc nó nó cái này ít lạnh sư nó cái yo đấy chả cho khỏi nên giá cho lô tận nó giá một tận nó khó nó chỉ để một tận nó là judge tao này bây giờ, because he's stuck here. Cho chứ nó mình cho chứ nó cháu một tờ nó là một tờ nó kế thế là chỉ tao là hắn này, yêu lấy chàng này, yêu khứ chỉ lấy chàng. Cái chỉ bảo là cái món nó sưu nhập lại cái sáng taoเลย. Lúc nó của ý lấy ôn nụ sơ của yêu lấy chàng này, yêu của một chút nó phá này, nhưng của băng cụ. Cái nhập lại nó sưu tăng cái giờ nó cho các món trong đấy, chú ở chú hồn đó nó cái, nếu muốn chú hồn đó nó phá, cái phá mong phá luôn cái này mà nó làm mong trả chú hồn đó nó, trả到chú hồn nó cái này mà nó ở chú hồn nó,做cái, cho hay chú hồn nó nhau lên nó sử dụng chỉ trắng, chú đó nó là chỉ trắng hơn cái, 我知道对了好了，做起来就好了嘞，但是chú đó nó你莫phá nó cái nó cái你莫 it swings back and forth. And it swings closer to the person. Cái này thằng cha tao chú lo nó cho được做cái. Cái lúc này tại sao nói cái we are at a very critical moment in the history of our Hmong people. Lúc chạy nó cái nó có biết cháu lâu có rồi. Chạy tại biết lo ha này giờ. Người ta chỉ không biết lo cũ là cũng chỉ là cũ lo đấy chỉ muốn sai là giải lâu là hết ta. Thầu u nó mà biết sai mà cũng chỉnh nhau cái lên cũng chạy mình nhiều nhau nó. Cái cô nào cũng chỉ bôi chả một lá hột lớn, ta xíu chèn trên đường sơ của lá hột lớn tàng này ha, giờ cũng chấm lá hột sơ phong nó kỹ mới bù lá hột lớn hả mà, but we have to learn how to work together as a group, từ lu từ giao từ lâu từ hồ này bên mông hà này, cái cho nó ở từ hồ nó giờ biết chỉ sĩ cùng tên nó kể rồi tổ chức tạo từ hồ phải phá nó, and we have to work together. That's one of the ways for us to continue to move forward into the future. So I want to help us understand how do we get there. Bé yang nó là cái sĩ rằng, sĩ dùng, hay cái sĩ phử nó, dùng gì ha thì sĩ thổ mình dùng cái câu này rồi. Cho họ thổ yêu rằng chỉ cho lên từ mà mình chỉ một cái bao tờ kiến chỉ sa, hoặc者yêu rằng chỉ tao sẽ lo, phử chỉ tao lo, dùng chỉ tao lo. There should be more empathy. Empathy. If we have empathy, we can move into a place of forgiveness. And unless we have empathy, we won't be able to do that. Mong chúng muốn lưu empathy cái muốn thay ta kiến gang sa, hấp bảo chủ cái chọn nhẹ. Là sĩ cái nhau sa chủ lực từ tôn này. When we can understand the experiences of other people and walk in their shoes, then we can find compassion and empathy. Then we can forgive. 还是用，还是付。So today, I'm going to help us understand a little bit more about what does that mean for us. How do we understand one another's experiences? 一隻路只到到隻路只到到隻路呢，其實我只冇見緊上呢，其實我只路呢叫住做是到了那樣，嘅靠不住呢嘅 we lose power. How are we going to do that? 我只冇讓做那樣。And this is to help us understand. No, just now, talk about just now. No, neng, yate kemikano ha. Na siya kuti halunjo no ma, ya kuti ha, po ta una ke ku bao that awesome mo your clown ku your tao jong zhou zhu na. Chaka ta pi po ta una ke ku pi zhou zhu le. Chaka ta tan your blai ke you zhou you zhu do na yin jo. Ji lu la ku ji zhe tan le ke jing yu kan le na yao. Ta shi ja lunjo no ku ji ba zhu ku ma, wa you jiang. And I'm going to tell this story in English. The last bat is the story. The bat was curious to explore the world, and so the bat went on this journey to explore. And all of a sudden, the bat realizes, I'm lost. I'm not sure where I'm going anymore. Where's my family? Where are my friends? He was scared, terrified, afraid. And so on this journey, the bat flies around and the bat stumbles upon a group of mice. And the bat flies and sees, oh, it looks at the group of mice and sees that we have the same nose. So the bat flies down to the group of mice and says, hey, family, look at, I'm home. And the mice looks at the bat and says, no, this isn't your home. The bat says, yes, it is. Look. We have the same nose. You have the same nose as me. Our snouts look alike. You're my family. The group of mice responds, yes, indeed. We do have the same nose. We do have the same snout. But look, we don't have wings. You have wings. And so the mice, with the bat dumbfounded, left the group, flew off, didn't know what to say. In search of his family, it stumbles upon a group of birds. And it sees the birds flying and says, oh, that must be my family. And so the bat flies towards the group of birds and says, hey, family, I'm home. The bird says to the bat, what do you mean? The bat says, well, look, I have wings and you have wings. I'm looking for my family. You must be my family. The bird says to the bat, yes, indeed, you have wings. But look, we have feathers, you don't. Cái thứ ba thứ bốn này tu sa này, một chỗ bao tờ nô là bao nó chỉ chạy tàu yêu lên, một chỗ bao tờ nô là bao tờ nó chỉ nhà yêu lên ha. Cái sợi yêu lên chẳng lên lố. And so the bat flies back and forth, and it stumbles upon a dark cave, and the bat thinks to itself, this world has rejected me and has denied me. It didn't matter where I go. Nobody wanted to accept me for who I am. And so I might as well go and hide in this cave. And so the bat decides to fly directly into the cave. And it was home. You see this bat that I'm talking about here? HMong chú bao tờ nô là bao tờ nô sai you chỉ giờ lệ bố you how you giờ lù là chỉ phỉ bố một chú bao tờ nô là nó có chữ hủ là ha thì sai you ole chẳng. So as a Hmong American boy growing up, that's been a challenge for me, and I'm sure many of you too, not feeling like you fit in wherever you go. And like the committee members earlier said, we have to go back to the roots. We need to understand who we are. Because like a tall tree, like we see here, if you don't have strong roots, you waver in the wind. But like this bat, you chẳng một bao you hãy nên mong chẳng kề mong này mong cái này chết chạy, mong kiến cười rồi chẳng. When you understand that, you find who you are. But to also help it, has been very challenging. Because on one end, we want to fulfill the legacy of our parents and our grandparents and ancestors. We spend so much time at school. The TVs that we watch are all in English. You have to have the moment to get to back on the moment. And it's true, because I haven't been able to pick up the language very well. It seems like I don't fit in anywhere. And it wasn't until I went back to the cave to learn about my Hmong people, the history of my Hmong people, the language that my Hmong people used, that I found myself. It's been really challenging. And it's not that we don't want to learn about our culture and our language, but it's that we have so many things that's influencing us and so many societal pressures for us to do other things. Because we are trying our best. But what about we're not thinking broad enough. So how do we understand our parents and their experiences so that we can bridge the gap? If you don't know what blé is bread, okay? It's bread. She has to prepare the dough before baking it. And as she's preparing this dough, she would cut off both ends, throw them away, and then would put the dough into the oven to bake. This dough is perfectly fine. She was upset, she was confused and frustrated. She wanted to make more bread, but why are we throwing these two away? Well, that's what my mom said. That's what my mom taught me. But the oven size is different now. When we take that into consideration and we think about how that works, we understand that the culture in which we operate in has been passed down generationally and has helped us. Look at the oven was small, so that helped them. But the generations all the way down, they realized The oven size has changed. And so how do we also change during this time? But the important thing about this story, why I told this story, is for us, to understand our parents and their experiences. When I was a kid growing up, I loved this show called Full House. Any Full House fans in here? Yeah, there we go. I used to always watch Full House. And 让 movie 让 TV show 那么 Full House 都给令子那样，令子我那时候播顿菜的面菜，同你冇見咗啥嘅你播頓菜面菜，新咗啥嘛，有到時談咯嘅令的面菜冇啥，嘅你用啥嘅就啱冇事了，結果俾啥到，喂我見佢自做了好咧呢，頭股問題自我冇見咗啥啦，嘅門口炸死，有我哋講，結果只刀啦那樣。But when I understand the history of how things work, or something happens, you get lost, you get in trouble. But that was something that was passed down too. We talked about historical trauma. Someone mentioned trauma earlier. But to understand the stories allows us to ask a different question. And to ask the question of not what's wrong with you, but the question of what happened. What's wrong with my mom and my dad? What's wrong with you? But if we start asking the question, what happened? That really shaped a lot of things that happened generationally. But when we also look at that, we also start to understand our parents and what they had to sacrifice for us to be able to live here today, to do what we do today. To exchange your life, to sacrifice your life. If we don't ever look at the history, we won't understand. And then on the flip side, we ask that our parents also, we are trying our best too. Now we're trying to go to school. We're trying to fit in. We're trying to make things work. At the same time that we're going to school, I remember I would go and interpret for my mom and my dad. Lấy lòng đấy sự kiện của gia đình tao cũng nào trong mong cho tao không hiểu. Là sự kiện mấy ở to chinh nấu chinh lì lò, ở từ chỉ cho nhìn tới nó kề tao cũng luôn khe một cái mèo nhìn xưa. But if we have an understanding, một cái sự trò rộng thì we have the empathy that I'm talking about. Nhưng một cái càng xa, cái sự trò rộng. So forgiveness is one of the things that requires empathy. Cái rằng gì, cái sự dòng. And just like the oven story that we talked about when making bread, and we also have to change too, and be flexible in the ways that we work and operate, so that we can work together. I'm told a story about two fathers and two sons, but there's only three people. How's that possible? Two fathers and two sons, but there's only three people. Because there's a grandfather, a father, and then a son. The grandfather gets really old. And as he's getting older, my son and I, we can't take care of him anymore. Because as he's getting older, he's relying a lot on us to take care of him. I think it's best if we bring grandpa and leave him in the woods so that we can come back and focus on our lifestyle. cái học của lấy tu mong cho tu căng chỗ này vậy bên một lâu tu khí này bây giờ tu căng chỗ này kia một tu căng chỗ luôn cái gì mỗi giờ áo cái bây giờ mỗi giờ họ sống ở xí so go get the căng chỗ for the folks the younger folks who don't understand what a căng chỗ is it looks like a backpack but it's made for carrying firewood go get that let's go so grandpa and us can go to the woods to go and spend time in the woods cái tu chỉ bảo là cái tu một tu căng chỗ luôn cái áo giờ cái bộ mong cho ta hàng sống một chỗ ta hàng sống là cái mỗi người tu paint cho được trong đông cái lên chỉ hai chỗ tu là ta mi tu muốn chơi à muốn chơi cái thì mi tu là chúa giờ nè ai ya giờ là lâu chưa lời tu chỉ tao giờ là cha giờ nhớ giờ nói ít chọn muốn chơi cái tu giờ nó cái ý muốn我只当tên mà cứ chỉ tao nó cứ chỉ tao học cái giờ nhớ giờ nói cái ý muốn chơi à cái trang họ từ tu sẽ tiêu kéo từ họ muốn chơi cái chú ta giao chơi nó để đi chơi để chơi nó cái từ tu họ cho linh chỉ không chỉ cái hai nó có cái gì mà cũng lúc sáng chỉ kén lên nè我建議到幾路村我個兵省做嘢咧，有我哋講我咧，即係人家人多呐，做開嘢啦撈嚟都知道嘢啦，就係人家多一齊嚟做緊路我拎得咯 ，because we can't take grandpa, can't take care of him anymore, he's too old. 嘅對面都就係做拎子，但係拎子唔知，就個省咧個部長咧個律師，人家大行數啦，嘅人家越多。但是，如果就到這咁冇個到對，更重要咯。一路那個來撈，那個就知了咯，我查來偷到講我找到人說哈。cái tại sao đấy lên chỉ trả lại trong là số của mình tu của thằng gì à kéo từ cha cho các một mối gì tạo được chứ giờ biết chỉ chơi chi phụ này vậy chỉ là chi phụ nào là chi phụ chỉ mình nhỏ là chi phụ nào chỉ nó kêu lúc biết giờ mình nhỏ là yếu chi phụ bé ha so we have to learn how to respect and honor the people around us our elders and everybody if we can learn to forgive she young is to compromise and then to also honor and respect bé nhà nó giờ bé ô tao nó kì bé giờ tao luôn nên vàng bên cho họ mua bé nhà yung chủ sĩ ha giờ bé chơi rằng gì she young hay she phụ nó kì bé giờ mua cái she lu bé giờ hay là she lu mua cái she băng hay cái she chơi we have more love more encouragement as opposed to shaming one another. We will support and help one another, just like today here. To support one another, because I'm sure a lot of this comes from love too, and you respect and honor our Hmong people, our Hmong culture. But the core piece here that we have to work on is how do we work on the first three things, which is forgiveness, shiyong, and then also shifu. It's so hard to do. But I believe that we can do these three things. Not only that, but we bridge the gap to understand one another. Cái chỉ rong, cái blu cái to, cái mỏ cái cái, cô mỏ lời, cái chỉ sáng chỉ lời. Thế cái chỉ rong nó bón chữ trong lòng của mình, bón chữ trong lòng, một chỗ núi trong đi cả. Cái lúc trong cha tới to nó cái, thằng bạn chuyển từ phòng công mỏng, cho con cho mỏng cho bé cho mỏng số một lần. Cô bé chỗ mong tông chỉ chú kiến là cái nhau dùng muốn cho làm một cha của nhau cha chỉ muốn mò nhau cha chỉ muốn chơi của mong kiến tao là mò dùng lu cái hàng là mò dùng chán của mong đa phang là mò tụ ban của mong tông phang là của mò tụ phụ cô bé chỗ mong tông chỉ chú kiến là cái nhau dùng tôi giờ một con tao cần đấy là của tao kiến sơ kiến chơi Rung tu lo on nu chu, tao rung tu nyal lo hao zhong, lo hao nu. And so I pray that this new year, and I encourage you all as well to work on these three things: forgiveness, honor, respect, and then to compromise. If we can do these three things, then as a community we will grow to have love and prosperity and support for one another. And so I'll leave you with that. Happy Hmong New Year's. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll have a little certificate for you.
Oh,
And
thank
this
you.
is just a few dollars in here for you to
Oh my
taste the food
goodness.
around here, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry we can't do any much better.
Oh
but
no, this is
thank you
perfect
so much.
already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.